Once a year, like the leaves, it comes. A magical night when bedtimes disappear and identities change. When the ghouls and goblins of our souls are set free to roam the night and scarf candy. For the true believers, Halloween is the ultimate holiday. Welcome to the Calling All Creeps podcast. My name is Bryce.
And I'm Nathan.
And tonight we're going to be talking about the Adventures of Pete and Pete Halloweenie episode.
Aw, yeah.
This is such an awesome episode. Nathan, have you watched this episode or any Pete and Pete before?
I had no idea that there was a show called Pete and Pete until literally last week when you told me about it. I had no awareness of this show at all, so this was new for me completely.
Well, great. Then you still have things to look forward to in life. This is such a fantastic show, early 90s Nickelodeon. It's the perfect weird kid show. There's a lot of shows today that were kind of being weird is kind of cool these days. And I feel like some shows just go really stupidly overboard on it. Maybe starting with stuff like SpongeBob. I love SpongeBob to death. And I like these other shows too. But it's just kind of what if being weird was really, really fucking extreme. I like it, but it doesn't feel very natural. But The Adventures of Pete and Pete is just a show about weird kids. They remind you of the kids you grew up with or you were yourself. It's a great show, and as all great shows have, they've got a Halloween episode. Halloweenie.
Yeah, I mean, it's zany. It's definitely doing that 90s zany thing, but it feels like it's a show about being a kid from a kid's perspective.
No, definitely. Seems very for kids, by kids. It really captures the true essence of being a kid.
Mm-hmm. It sort of exists in a heightened reality where it's kind of how you experience the world when you are a child. Everything is just sort of amped up and extreme.
Yeah.
Since you asked me, I should ask you. Bryce, what's your history with this show?
So this is not something I had ever heard of or watched growing up. I had a friend introduce this show to me maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I think I found it at the local library, and I watched it front to back, and it just blew me over. I just couldn't believe I spent any time missing this show. Totally wished I'd watched it growing up. Just absolutely fell in love with it. The main actors, Pete and Pete, still run a podcast to this day that I listen to.
Yeah, I checked that out a little bit.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it's pretty fun.
This show does seem like it was tailor-made for you. It's very Bryce.
Well, I like to hear that. Yeah, but they do little reunions, little get-togethers, or meeting up at Comic Cons or something like that. And so I really like to keep up with it, and I'm glad it still goes, and I'm glad it's got this kind of cult following in a really low-key manner. It seems like a lot of people have never heard of this show, which is so sad because it's really good. And, I don't think it's on streaming or anything. It's hard to buy.
It's what you might call a cult classic.
Yeah, cult classic. For sure. And just a diamond in the rough. It's really great. It's a perfect show. So again, I just keep up with it. I watch it all the time. I'm super excited to show my kids this show. And so I thought this would be the perfect place to talk about it.
Well, it's only appropriate. And it's interesting how, despite the fact that we were both... really, we're 2000s kids when it comes down to it, but we're 2000s kids who are sort of 90s kids at heart. And so it's funny that neither of us watched this show as actual kids. We both come to it as adults, which is a little funny, I guess.
Yeah, it was definitely out before either of us were born. And again, it seems like it kind of fizzled. I mean, I don't ever remember seeing it on TV, playing reruns or nothing like that. At least not that I remember. Yeah, I don't think it ever just saw much of a resurgence. I don't think it saw much reruns. I'm not even sure what the deal with it is on DVD releases. Yeah, so luckily the internet exists and we're able to revisit it now. I'd probably say this with a lot of shows, but I'm going to say it here. I might recommend this show more than I recommend any show. Ever.
Everything that you recommend is the ultimate thing.
Yeah, that's how it feels for sure, because everything's great. But if you like 90s nostalgia, this feels like the pinnacle. It's the perfect show.
Yeah, it's whimsical as fuck.
That's one. All right, let's get into it.
Once a year, like the leaves, it comes.
The show starts with some fall leaves and a door floats in and it opens up to a full moon and some trick-or-treaters. One's a devil, one's a ghost, and one's a blue guy. I couldn't figure out what that third mask was. It just looked like a blue person.
For a second there, I thought it was the Goosebumps mask.
Oh, really?
That's what came to mind.
Oh, man, I don't know what it was. Like, I almost feel like it had like a samurai mask sort of feel to it. Side tangent. Speaking of blue people, this just reminds me, 'cause I don't know exactly when, but I feel like it might have happened around Halloween. It might not have. But as a kid, I remember we were being babysat by the neighbor and people with blue face paint on that looked like the Blue Men Group. You know how they kind of paint their faces blue?
Oh, I remember those freaking guys, yeah.
Yeah, dude. So when we were kids, while we were being babysat and it was late at night and stuff, these two guys in blue face paint tried breaking into our house and stuff, and they're peering through the windows trying to get in, and that scared the shit out of me.
What the fuck? I'd shit my pants.
Dude, yeah, that was crazy. They were like, trying to get in. They were just looking through the windows, and we ended up calling the cops, and it was a whole spiel. But like little like 5 or 6 year old me, that scared the shit out of me from blue people. But not this blue guy. But yes, opens up to some trick or treaters. A little Twilight Zone feeling here at the beginning.
It is very Twilight Zone. I didn't even think of that, but you're right. The atmosphere right off the bat is just impeccable.
Yeah, and so let's get into the two main characters right here at the beginning. It's two brothers, Pete, older Pete, and his younger brother, Pete. They both have the same name.
Big Pete and Little Pete.
Yeah, Big Pete, Little Pete. And so it starts out with Big Pete raking the leaves, and his younger brother pops out of a pile of leaves with his mask on to scare him. And you're like, okay, great, this is, Halloween. But as older Pete starts talking and his brother jumps out to scare him, he starts to confess that he thinks Halloween's for dorks.
Ah! Gotcha! You blinked.
Wrong. Pete thinks I'm the weenie for not believing anymore. What happened to my Halloween spirit? Where did it go? And once it's gone, can it ever return?
Yeah, he's become disenchanted with it. He's starting to reach that age where he becomes disenchanted with the Halloween thing.
Right, yeah. Younger Pete is quite a few years younger than him. I think older Pete is probably about 15 or something like that. And yeah, so older Pete's like, man, Halloween is for dorks. And his younger brother is really into Halloween still and thinks his older brother's a dork for not liking Halloween anymore. He poses the question, once you've grown up and maybe you've become a little too old for Halloween, can the Halloween spirit ever return? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, I can relate to this conundrum on a couple levels. First of all, I had a younger brother growing up, and we had about the same age difference, too. So this kind of reminds me of me and my younger brother at that age. And when I got to be around 12 years old, when I was 12, that was the first year that I stopped trick-or-treating. I was actually a little bit younger than Big Pete here, because I started to have that sort of fear of peer pressure of like, oh, am I being a dork by continuing to indulge in Halloween stuff? So I feel like for a lot of kids, you do get to an age where you start to become really self-conscious about how you're perceived, and you don't want to be seen to enjoy things that are stereotypically childish or immature. But then you get a little bit older than that, you get into adulthood, and you start to rediscover and rekindle some of your love for things. That's kind of what happened to me.
So you think the Halloween spirit can return then?
I mean, I'm sitting here doing this podcast, so yes, I am a fully grown man, and I definitely believe in the Halloween spirit.
You have it here, ladies and gentlemen, living proof of the Halloween spirit.
Listen, Halloween is great, Halloween is whimsical, Halloween is my favorite thing, except for maybe Christmas. And yeah, dude, like for me, I know you like to stick with your Scooby-Doo and your cemeteries and mansions and stuff. I started watching like slasher movies and gory, fucked up horror movies when I got older, so I feel like some people also take the path of getting into like the quote-unquote adult Halloween, which is all about like Freddy and Jason and the darker side of things. there are various ways in which you can continue to embrace Halloween.
Yeah.
As you get older, you're starting to have your own kids, so you're starting to do that thing that a lot of people do when they have kids, which is re-experience their childhood through their children. So that's a perfect avenue to hold on to the Halloween spirit.
Dude, yeah, we got to take our daughter trick-or-treating for the first time this last Halloween. And I'd gone trick-or-treating a couple of times in my adulthood and dead. Halloween is just extremely different now than when I was a kid. When I was a kid, we started trick-or-treating late and we stayed out all night long, and you could trick-or-treat all night long, and the streets and the sidewalks were full of kids, full of parents. I mean, it was just packed, and it was exciting. We'd stay out super late, way past dark, and there was a couple of times I went trick-or-treating, and man, like, I mean, it was over by like 8 o'clock. There was just almost no one out, and then like by the time like 8 o'clock rolled around, it was dead. There was nobody. It was over. The lights were off, and I couldn't believe it. I don't think I even started trick-or-treating until closer to 8 when I was a kid. Generally, I mean, I didn't start trick-or-treating till it was dark out, you know?
Yeah, it's got to be dark outside. It's freaking Halloween.
Yeah, no, man, by the time it turned dark outside, it was over. And I even, went trick-or-treating in a larger town. But yeah, no, it really depressed me. I mean, it just sunk my soul to like go out and just see that not only were there not that many houses doing it, not that many houses decorating, not that many kids out. And then by the time I thought it should be really ramping up, it was over. God, it fucked me up. Like, I was just severely depressed. I was like, I can't believe that. I can't believe that's what it's turned into. But again, on the good note, we took our daughter trick-or-treating for the first time.
And just to give people an idea, how old is your daughter?
Yeah, she was just 11 months old when she went, or I guess, 11 months, almost a year old. She's just born a few days after Halloween. Yep, so this was her first trick-or-treating, so we got all dressed up, and I was just really unsure of how it was going to go. I'm like, oh, man. We went trick-or-treating where we live, and no, it did not disappoint. It was awesome. Again, definitely nowhere near as intense as it was as I was a kid, but still, we hit tons of houses. Not only was she cute as hell, dressed up as a little spider, but she carried her trick-or-treat bucket the whole way through, and we filled that bucket up. It was great. But anyways, man, back to you. 12? We quit trick-or-treating at 12?
Yeah, and I thought that was pushing it, because I was just... Listen, I was a troubled kid, I was a depressed kid, I was a very self-conscious kid, and I didn't want to stop trick-or-treating. I actually, like, in my heart and soul, I still had the Halloween spirit in me, but I started to get that, like, teenage, oh, what are the other guys gonna think?
Yeah, it seems like this is your life story here with Halloween, man. That's 12. That is so young. That makes me sad.
I succumbed to the same kind of self-consciousness and peer pressure that Big Pete succumbs to here, you could say.
I trick-or-treated until I was 17.
Wow. Well, we can get into some of our deeper feelings about Halloween and trick-or-treating in the main discussion, but let's keep going into the plot here. Let's get into this episode.
It's mighty strange. You looking happily rain.
Older Pete smashes a pumpkin, and then they play the theme song, which the whole soundtrack to this, there's a band from the 80s called Miracle Legion, and the guys who created the show got them to get back together after they had broken up, start a new band called Polaris, and they wrote an album that became the soundtrack for the whole series. Super awesome. You get that in the theme song, Hey Sandy, that plays. Super great song, introduces you to all the main characters, which is Pete and Pete, their mom, their dad, their mom's plate, older Pete's best friend Ellen, Artie, the local superhero, and Petunia, little Pete's tattoo. That little kid has got a tattoo of a woman on his arm.
That is an inappropriate tattoo for a goddamn 8-year-old.
It's pretty funny, yeah. Yeah, you'll have to watch the whole show to get into all that stuff. But so yeah, again, older Pete's kind of your main character here, your narrator. He goes, what is it about Halloween that gets kids all wiggly? He admits for his younger brother, it's not just the candy, it's immortality. His little brother's got a dream of beating the record number of houses you can trick-or-treat to in a night. So some years ago, a couple of kids trick-or-treated to 374 houses in one night. And Pete thinks he can beat this record this Halloween, and it'll make him as famous as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon.
How are these kids not getting diabetes in their teens? God damn, that is a lot of candy.
That is a lot of candy. It's like trash bags and trash bags full. And so for years now, Pete and Pete have attempted to beat this record, but they have always fallen short. And then out of the blue, Pete decides that he's too old for it. He's going to get, again, like you, he's going to get made fun of. He's going to get beat up. And he decides to bail on his little brother. His little brother decides he's going to go trick-or-treating, try to beat the record with his best friend, Nona. And they decide they can do it this year. They can beat the record.
The thing you have to realize is that to Pete,
Suction.
Halloween isn't a holiday. It's a holy day.
You get some great scenes of them carving jack-o'-lanterns in the kitchen, and younger Pete is using a vacuum to suck out all the pumpkin guts, and he's using a weed trimmer to carve it. Crossing guard Frank Gulcher, and he shows up to warn Pete that on Halloween night, he's got to buddy up, because you know who's out there? The pumpkin eaters.
The neighborhood anti-Halloween cartel.
Yeah, and if they don't stop them this year, this will be the last Halloween in town.
Yeah, according to whose authority, I wonder, like the local PD is just like outlawing Halloween for the county because of the pumpkin eaters. I wonder how that works.
Putting a curfew out or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know whose authority the crossing guard is under. But yeah, he says his boss says if they don't stop the pumpkin eaters from terrorizing the town and ruining Halloween, this will be the last Halloween.
Oh my god.
And so, you know, it's up to them to stop these guys. And I love they use the phrase that these pumpkin eaters turn Halloween into Halloween. Such a great band name. I remember when I thought of it, I looked it up. There's already a band called Halloween.
Oh, of course.
Lucky those guys. Every cool band name's been taken. But yeah, and they start to show you what the pumpkin eaters do. They're spray painting cars, toilet papering houses and trees, smashing pumpkins all over the streets. They're considered the dark nights of Halloween, ruining it for everyone, and they ride around on bicycles with jack-o'-lanterns on their heads.
I consider, if anything, these kids do have the Halloween spirit. They're just really old school about it. They're reminiscent of the early 20th century Halloween, where it was just dangerous pranks, just kids committing dangerous pranks.
Yeah, honestly, you know, that's how I feel about it a little bit. I think smashing pumpkins and toilet paper in houses and all that mischief is 100% the Halloween spirit to me. Like,
It's for the older kids.
yeah, to me, yeah, that's great. Again, I don't think you probably see that anymore. And with all your Ring cameras and stuff, you probably wouldn't be a smart idea to do it anymore, which kind of sucks.
No, because we live in a complete surveillance state. But
That we do.
You know, there was a concerted effort in the early 20th century going into the 30s and 40s. There was a deliberate effort to get the mischief out of Halloween and to kind of water it down. And that's a big part of why trick-or-treating became such a big thing in the first place, is people were trying to phase out the old Halloween. But the old Halloween, the prankster Halloween, the trick part of the equation, that was important for the older kids. So the kind of watering down of Halloween resulted in this kind of situation where having the Halloween spirit became more of a little kid thing, which is too bad, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get into the whole history of Halloween right here, but definitely, back in the day, that's kind of what it was a mischievous night to go out and do pranks. They're no longer giving you candy to appease you so you don't terrorize the adults, But yeah, to me, I don't know. I miss doing that stuff. I love it. I think that's part of Halloween.
I mean, even Christmas used to be more about mischievous pranks.
Yeah.
And the undoing of social norms.
I agree. Yeah, man. Go out and learn history of stuff. It's really fun.
We need to stop dumbing down holidays in general.
But yeah, even as fun as we imagine them, these guys are seen as ruining it.
Pete knew exactly who they were. The Pumpkin Eaters. A pack of goons who turn Halloween into Halloween. No one knows their true identities, but every year they rip through Wellsville like a twister, pulverizing the Halloween spirit of everyone who still believes. They are the dark knights of Halloween.
Yeah, so you see the Pumpkin Eaters going around ruining Halloween. Older Pete, he's kind of like, maybe these guys are right. Him and his friend Ellen are walking around talking about, we're too old for Halloween. Halloween kind of sucks. And they see a sidewalk littered with pumpkins smashed all over the place. And there's one pumpkin left, and Older Pete fights internally about what to do. And what does he decide to do? To smash the pumpkin. And off in the distance, the Pumpkin Eaters are gathered together, and they see Older Pete smashing the pumpkin. And they decide, you know what? This might be a guy to recruit. He might be one of us.
Yeah, like proving yourself to the prison gang.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're looking at him like this. That's a guy smashing pumpkins. That's the guy on our side.
I just want to point out too that there's a really cool shot from inside the jack-o'-lantern as he reaches for it. Like some of the shots in this are really creative.
Yeah, that is a really good shot.
Shot very well.
Yeah. So after he smashes that pumpkin, Devil's Night is here the night before Halloween, and the Pumpkin Eaters are at it tonight. And what they do is they go and they smash all the pumpkins at Pete and Pete's house. Older Pete decides that he was cursed by the Halloween gods for smashing that pumpkin earlier that day. And so due to the night before Halloween, already starting off with the Pumpkin Eaters wreaking havoc, some people start to shut down Halloween. Most notably, a younger Pete's friend Nona, her dad, who is Iggy Pop, says, I'm sorry, man, you can't go out trick-or-treating this year. It's too dangerous out there.
Yeah, what the fuck is Iggy Pop doing in this? How did they get him in here? I guess he'll just turn up for everything if you give him a dime bag of meth.
Yeah, it's go read about it. It's pretty fun, and he pops up throughout the whole show as her dad. There's Steve Buscemi is someone's dad in this show. There's a lot of fun guests.
Also, what makes me laugh is that the Pumpkin Eaters are wearing their pumpkins while they're just like hanging out with each other on their own. Dude. They're just always wearing the pumpkins.
Yeah, man, it leans a little background to that age-old question that I have is, what do the villains do off-screen when no one's watching? Like,
when the villain of the story is by himself, he's just scratching his nuts, standing in line at the gas station, standing in front of the fridge indecisively, taking shits, just like the rest of us.
But yeah, like you said, these guys are true to it. It's that time of year. They are just hanging out with pumpkins on their heads. And so, yeah, now Nona can't go trick-or-treating with younger Pete. And so he no longer has a trick-or-treat partner. And so he's like, well, without a trick-or-treat partner, he's not sure if he can beat that record of 374 houses in one night. Because he's such a good brother, Older Pete decides he's going to go ahead and risk it. Risk, being made fun of and shit. And he's going to go ahead and trick-or-treat with his younger brother, and they're going to go after the record.
Maybe it was loyalty. Maybe it was stupidity. But to this day, I still can't believe what I did next. Pete, I'll go with you.
Pete's friend Ellen finds out about this, and she's like, what are you doing? You can't go trick-or-treating. You're too old. And she reminds him of the last year, a 15-year-old went trick-or-treating, and he was hung upside down, and Halloweenie was like painted across his hat, and he was, beat up, made fun of.
Yeah, well, he has his own page in the yearbook. So, like, the administration of the school was like, oh, yeah, let's give this loser his own yearbook photo.
Yeah. And so, obviously Pete's worried about this, and his friend Ellen, she's like, you shouldn't go out trick-or-treating. You're going to get labeled a Halloweenie, and you're going to get tortured, man. And he decides, he's going to do it for his brother anyways. One last night, he's going to wear a mask. He's hoping, no one will recognize him. As they allude to earlier in the episode about beating this record will make them as famous as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon, they go as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin for Halloween. They're dressed up in astronaut costumes, and they've got working radios inside of the helmets.
According to my brother, the record is one of mankind's greatest feats, like landing on the moon. And if we broke the record, we'd be legends, just like Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, the first two men to walk on the moon.
And so, about 1 hour in, they've already hit 115 houses, and they are going strong. They've got a plan, they've got a map. They're going to beat this record tonight. And of course, the pumpkin eaters have started terrorizing the town, terrorizing the crossing guard who's trying to fight against them, and terrorizing the kids in the street, like probably stealing their candy and all that kind of stuff. And they're just generally wreaking havoc as they do. Because of this, the town's afraid of these teenagers on bicycles, and they start shutting their lights off. And
I don't think they realize the irony that by engaging in this behavior, they are participating in Halloween, you could say.
Yeah, like we said earlier, even though it's seen as like an anti-Halloween spirit, I would say it's very much in vein with the Halloween spirit.
Can I just say also, their Halloween costumes are like pretty good. They don't look cheap.
No, yeah. But yeah, so the pumpkin eaters are terrorizing the town, and again, all these adults are afraid of these teenagers on bicycles, and they feel like they can't beat them, like they're waging a war on Halloween. And all these houses are shutting down early. They're locking their doors. They're turning off their lights, and Pete and Pete are like, oh man, well, with all these houses on our map, shutting down, and the pumpkin eaters out to ruin everyone's Halloween, they're thinking they're not going to get the record anymore. But, they take evasive action. They start going a different route, thinking they can avoid the pumpkin eaters. And then some of the houses, even though they've turned their lights off and locked up, they still, they can tell, these are the good kids coming up, and they, are secretly still helping them trick or treat, which is super cool.
By 8 o'clock, just 1 hour into our 374 house quest, we'd knocked off 115 houses. From Chug Hill all the way to Sahara Mike Avenue. We were unstoppable. And as my Halloween spirit returned, I could feel it. It was a night for heroes.
And then, man, they're getting done. The night's coming to an end, and they're really close to beating the record. Of course, older Pete decides to quit. He bails on his younger brother. They're the last trick-or-treaters out, and so now they're the only targets left for the pumpkin eaters, and he bails, man. I think he runs into that kid who was beat up the year before for Halloween, and he's like, I can't end up like him, dude.
They've been to hundreds of houses by this point. They've got to be that's like a house per minute, maybe, if they've been at this for 3 hours or so.
Yeah, I don't know how long it is in general, but in 1 hour, 115 houses? That's almost 2 houses per minute, man.
Yeah, you're just knocking on the door like, hi, give me my candy, okay, bye.
Yeah, you got to be like, trick or treat, and then run. It's really cool. Honestly, the part that surprised me about this is that I have never thought of that. I'd never thought of trying to count how many houses I went to and to it seems like it would be really fun. Maybe it would make it too quick. Maybe take the fun out of it. But doing it once, though, one Halloween, that would have been really cool.
Nah, I feel like you got to savor these things.
Right, I agree.
Trick-or-treating is like sipping wine.
Yeah. Yeah, you really gotta, spread the whole night out, and it's just so much fun. You gotta, be trick or treating, and you gotta run into other friends or run into other people with cool costumes, and you gotta stop and eat a little bit, and you gotta stop at the haunted houses and go through those. You gotta really take it all in. But yeah, so Pete's ditched his brother, and of course, now that he's alone, the pumpkin eaters find older Pete, and they start to chase him, and he's running for his life, and they're jumping fences, and he goes to hide inside of a haunted house.
I wish there was an abandoned haunted house in my neighborhood that I could just climb into anytime.
God, wouldn't that be awesome? That's a dream come true right there. And so he's in there, and he's thinking he's safe, and he's going around, and there's a bunch of props in there, and he's pushing them all over to make sure they're all props and they're not the kids dressed in costumes and stuff there to get them. And he goes and he pushes one of them. Turns out to be one of the pumpkin eaters.
Tag, you're dead. Oh, Wrigley. Trick or treat.
They corner older Pete, and they're like, hey, man, we could beat you up, but we saw you the other day smash a pumpkin. That's what we like to do, and that's what we like to see. And so they kind of offer him instead.
We think you got the stuff, man.
Yeah, you've got the stuff, man. You're on the same wavelength as us. So they're going to give him the option to go ahead and join him. They say, take this pumpkin right now, smash it, and become one of us. Pete takes the pumpkin, and he's thinking about it, and he's like, oh, what am I going to do? And then he makes the right decision, and he smashes the pumpkin over the pumpkin head of the leader of the pumpkin group. His younger brother hears his older brother in distress, and though he hates to do it, and I think he's at the last house, he's at one more house to beat the record. He decides his older brother needs his help more than he needs to beat the record, and he runs to help his older brother out. And so older Pete smashes his pumpkin on his head, and the dude's mask falls off to reveal who's the leader of the Pumpkin Eaters. Endless Mike.
Oh shit!
The Endless Mike is kind of the lead bully of the show. Kind of a punk rocker, a little bit, spiky black hair. Maybe he's got a leather jacket. I don't know.
I gotta say, you look exactly like Endless Mike.
That's the best compliment I've ever received in my life.
No, seriously, I was just like, is that Bryce? Did Bryce did Bryce get cosmetic surgery to look more like Endless Mike?
Dude, it's crazy because, again, I don't know why, like, watching TV, I've always liked the villain more.
Same.
They do it on purpose, I feel like. The villain's always got a cooler name and a cooler costume, and the villains look so fucking awesome,
Plus, the villain is always the underdog.
Always the underdog, yeah. We're underdog kind of guys.
Yeah, because they always lose. Because in kids' media, the villain always has to lose. So therefore, in my kid brain, I'm like, man, I want this guy to win for once.
Yeah.
That's what I would always sympathize with the villain.
Dude, 90% of the time when I watch a movie with a villain in it, I'm literally almost always like, let the villain win, let the villain win, let the villain win. And, most of the time he doesn't.
It's to an extent where, as a kid, I had a dream that I helped Plankton steal the Krabby Patty formula from Mr. Krabs and run him out of business. That's how much I liked villains.
That's an awesome dream.
Yeah.
Dude, I sympathize with that, man. I'm always like, God, I just hope Plankton gets it one of these days, But there's not so many villains that I love as much as I love 90s bullies. What do you think of, like, Hocus Pocus, Jay and Ice? I love those guys. Yeah, so I'm super glad you said I looked like him because, man, when I watched this show, I love all the main characters, but man, as soon as Endless Mike came around, I was like, that's the guy. That's my idol. That's my hero. That's the guy I want to be. He's so cool. And of course, he's got to be the leader of this super cool jack-o'-lantern wearing Halloween terrorizing gang. And I love it. But, if you watch the whole show, it's like, oh, man, there it is. It's Endless Mike, not a big surprise because he's the main bully guy. But, you get to know who it is. He's been unmasked. A little Scooby-Doo-ish there.
Endless Mike?
What'd you expect, Carrot Head? Mr. Tasty? Fry this weenie!
Like I said, dirtbags, not on my watch.
Yeah, and so younger Pete shows up, headbutts Endless Mike, knocking himself out. In the process, older Pete smashes a pumpkin on Mike again, right over his head. And so now the Pumpkin Eaters have been caught, and now that they've been caught and unmasked, these guys can be prosecuted.
Taken to jail.
Pretty much, yeah. They
tried as adults.
Probably not taken to jail, but they're seen cleaning up the town the next day. They're scrubbing people's porches and picking up all the pumpkin guts and toilet paper and cleaning up all the havoc they wreaked the night before. And of course, Endless Mike is scrubbing off Iggy Pop's front porch there, and Iggy Pop comes out and he calls Endless Mike a stooge.
If I had a nickel for every time I've been called a stooge.
Yeah, they don't use that term anymore. But again, funny because Iggy Pop was in the Stooges, and so of course younger Pete ditched beating the record to go save his older brother, which is super cool. But so they didn't beat the record, which sucks, but they did unmask the Pumpkin Eaters, and so now Halloween has been saved. And the Pumpkin Eaters won't be attacking again next year. And so not only did they save Halloween that night, but they've saved Halloween for all Halloweens to come.
And perhaps more importantly, Big Pete has rekindled his Halloween spirit, right? I mean, I can only assume.
I'm hoping so, He's going to be a year older next year, but maybe he does go again next year. And maybe he's opened up the possibility for other older kids to trick-or-treat next year with no fear of the Pumpkin Eaters.
We helped save Halloween in Wellsville. Now, every year, when the leaves come, so does Halloween. Setting free the ghouls and goblins of our souls for one magical night. especially for two brothers who will always believe.
Okay, so that's the whole show. What did you think of it, man?
I thought it was great. I mean, to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect it to be as well written as it is. This is actually genuinely very funny. As much as I like the Munsters doesn't make me laugh. This made me laugh. I thought the jokes were really good. The only lame joke in this is where Iggy Pop calls Big Pete a stooge, or calls Endless Mike a stooge.
What? That was the best part. Well, it wasn't the best part.
It's not a joke. He just calls him a stooge.
Well, it's an inside joke. If you know who Iggy Pop is, it's funny.
It's not an inside joke. It's an outside joke. Everybody knows. Okay. But anyway.
Well, maybe kids in the 90s didn't know what Iggy Pop looked like. I don't know.
But
Or it's just a fun reference.
Sure. I guess I appreciate that he's here. I do like Iggy Pop.
I don't give a shit about the Stooges or Iggy Pop.
Oh, man,
but
what?
Pretty fun that he's in the show.
What? How? Bitch, how do you not like Iggy Pop? How do you not like the Stooges?
I haven't listened to a lot of them. My older brother is a huge Stooges fan. I probably really haven't heard 10 Stooges songs, maybe. But every song I've listened to, I don't know. I've never liked any of them that I've heard enough to want to go and seek any more out. Obviously, you know me. I'm a huge punk rock fan.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if you're a fan of the Ramones were extremely influenced by the Stooges.
Oh, yeah. See,
big time.
Yeah, that could be. And that's the thing is, a lot of people be like, oh, you're a metal fan, but you don't like Black Sabbath. I do like Black Sabbath, but I hear people say that you don't like Black Sabbath. You wouldn't have other metal bands if it wasn't for Black Sabbath. Like you have to like them because they were the influence on them. And I always think, okay, well, you could, if you like this band, you have to like this other band that influenced them. Then you got to like this other band that influenced them. I mean, you might as well be Beethoven and Bach fans. I don't think you have to like the precursor bands to bands you like. I'm a huge Ramones fan. I used to play in a Ramones tribute band. Listen to the Ramones all the time. Love the Ramones. As much as I probably should be somehow, I just don't happen to be a fan of a lot of the proto-punk that came out right before. Like, I don't like the Stooges. I don't like
MC5, New York Dolls.
God, yeah, I can't stand that shit at all. The proto-punk stuff, it's not my thing. I don't like the Stooges.
I would say, I bring it up not just because they're a precursor, but because their songwriting is so similar to Ramones. There are songs from that first Stooges record that just sound like Ramones songs with less guitar distortion. So that's why I would have thought you would be into it. Not necessarily because, if it wasn't for this, you wouldn't have that. I can understand not being into something that influenced something else that you like.
But anyways, yeah, you were telling me about how much you liked the episode, but we didn't care for the Stooge joke.
Let's get into the main discussion. Let me take a piss real quick, and then we'll get into our thoughts on the episode.
10-4.
Okay, so thoughts on the episode. I got to admit, I didn't know what to expect, Bryce, but I was totally swept away by this. I found it very whimsical.
That's 3.
And surprisingly well written. I mean, not that I expected it to be bad, but it's a kid's show, It's really smartly written. The cinematography was also way above and beyond what it had to be. It looks totally cinematic. The characters are great, the dialogue's great. It's over the top and zany, but it's also pretty accurate to what it feels like to be a kid. It kind of reminded me of Christmas Story a little bit, if you've ever seen that movie. The way it presents this narrative, recollection of little bits and pieces of childhood, these little tableaus of childhood. This was really good, man. I'd have to give it probably a good 8 out of 10 disembodied human skulls.
Great, yeah. I agree. Definitely recommend putting this one on around Halloween. Great show. Super great episode. Again, I just love every bit of it. Man, I love the guys wearing the jack-o'-lanterns on their head, and they've got their own diabolical gang. All the mischievous stuff the pumpkin eaters get into, and the fact that there's, again, an abandoned haunted house, and it's just got everything, and it really gives you that classic good old feel of what Halloween was all about. Again, you get both sides of it. You get the trick-or-treating, super kid fun side of it, and the mischievous little teenager bit of it. And like you know, a little bit of that wrestling with your age and, you know, how other kids view you and consequences of dealing with your peers and stuff like that, which is really great. But yeah, it's just got it's got all the good fall leaves. It's got all the trick or treat visuals you want to see. It's got a great story. It's got great characters. I'm gonna be pretty good at this, but yeah, definitely a good 10 disembodied human skulls out of 10, man.
Ooh, you are very generous with the dispensing of the skulls.
Oh man, when I like things, I like it. And obviously, starting out this podcast, I really am. I'm choosing things that I like a lot. I'm sure we will get into many other things that aren't my absolute favorite Halloween related things. But yeah, for now, 10 out of 10, man. I love it.
One of these days we'll find something that Bryce doesn't think is perfect.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else there is to say about it. That's kind of the whole episode. I'm glad you're a fan of it. I recommend anyone else out there who's a Halloween fan, go watch this episode. Go watch it now. Go get some apple cider. Go get a pumpkin flavored beverage. Put on a Halloween costume or a Halloween mask and turn out the lights and light a candle and watch this episode, man. It's, to me, every year, March is kind of the beginning of Halloween to me. How the year goes is from March to the end of October. That's all Halloween to me, man.
Shoo-wee, you would be the grocery store manager from hell.
Oh, shoot. Right? But yeah, man, from March to Halloween and a little beyond, that's Halloween season to me, man. And then I know it feels like a curse word probably on this podcast. When Halloween is over, it is Christmas time, and so I get really into Christmas.
I can't believe you would utter that word on this podcast.
Then usually after that, you get January and February, and it's just kind of cold and miserable. And then, when March comes around, it is Halloween time again. So we are recording this in March, and it's Halloween season, baby. Go watch this episode. Go do a Halloween thing.
And on the broader subject of Halloween, if I may get on my Halloween soapbox for just a minute here and say this much, I think we all have a little bit of the Big Pete conundrum going on inside of us when it comes to things like this, things that might seem frivolous. There's this idea that Halloween is sort of childish. It's so pervasive, it's so popular in this day and age to be cynical about the holidays and all of these things. But it does matter. We as a culture, as a people, our morale is in the toilet lately. We don't really feel unified anymore culturally. Halloween represents one of the last vestiges of monoculture. It's something that everybody knows, and we can all celebrate it together regardless of any sort of religious, spiritual, or political considerations, at least ideally. And not only is it fun, but it's also one of the few pressure release valves that we have in our popular culture that allows us to really face death and face the dark side. It's the closest thing that we have in North America to a sort of Day of the Dead type cultural event, a socially acceptable way to indulge in the morbid with good humor. It has a rich history, it has an illustrious background, and its falling off, so to speak, is a symptom of a greater disillusionment with our own cultural traditions that is going to destroy us.
I agree 100%. I agree on all those points. What do they say now? Not make America, Jesus Christ. Make Halloween great again,
Nice catchphrase. We should put that on a hat.
I've seen hats like that, yeah. that's right. Yeah, I was like, well, that's a good way to turn that phrase around. I like it. Make Halloween great again, man, because it definitely was, and it has definitely slacked off. And so, and it's important culturally, traditionally, but I think it's important for kids. It's important for kids to have that night where you can face your fears and you can go out and be a little independent, get dressed up and pretend to be someone else. This really is just I think it's a really important. Go out, it's about enjoying yourself. Like you said, even the closest thing we have in this sort of society to like a Day of the Dead, I recommend everyone to, learn the history of it. And, it is important to visit cemeteries and be reminded that death is a part of life because it's so removed these days. And it's, it's good to remember the dead, and it's good to face that and be aware of it. It's all fun, all great. Any age Go enjoy it. Go participate. Go to a Halloween party, decorate your house, carve a jack-o'-lantern, go to the pumpkin patch, watch a scary movie. Again, be safe, be precautious about it. But don't stop living or participating or letting your kids have that fun and independence. Don't live by fear, Face it. Go out a little bit, Help it be a good time for kids, man.
Very well said. Very whimsical.
I believe that's 4. Don't let the Halloween spirit die.
And if you are tempted to let the Halloween spirit die, then me and Bryce will find you and destroy everything you love after subjecting you to torture.
Will definitely at least haunt you.
Well, Bryce, we have subjected the listeners to quite the post-episode diatribe there. Should we wrap this up?
No, yeah, it was a big post-episode bit there. But no, great episode. Check it out. Tune in next week for another cool horror Halloween spooky-filled episode. And until next time, bad dreams.
Bye. Thanks for listening.
I am an immortal soul. I've got a devil. A power hungry, out of control. I am the king of rock and roll. I am the beast of the night. Don't close, 'cause I will bite, baby. Won't look and die afraid. Come on to the other side. I'll show you things that you have never seen. I'm a leader of the undead. I'm the creature under your bed. I'm the thing in the dark. You know that I bear the mark, yeah. I'm evil, I am fear. That's what I am to see ya. I'm the freak in your nightmares. Let me drag you into my lair.